Alrighty, so I'm going to try and make a somewhat short video explaining the carb upgrade, the 372 Husky carb upgrade for these Zenoah clone engines. I don't know what the 45, 50, 52, 58, 60, whatever they are. This said it was a 62. On the side of the cylinder claims it's a 58. The measurements claim it's a 50. So take it for what it's worth. I think they're all basically the same. You go on Amazon, there's all of these are the same. The pink way is what I wanted, but they were out, so I got this Weimar. I think they're basically all identical. To a point. I mean, some of them might be a little different, but the original carb right here, decent out of the box. Huge upgrade for the 372 carb. So everywhere online claims it's a bolt-on. That's not exactly the case. Ignore the ugliness, but so that process is going to be basically taking your old carb off, and then I did try and kind of, I don't want to say port this out a little bit, but did my best to make it a little bigger, a little smoother, if you will, even though intake's not really supposed to be smooth. But anyhow, one of the main issues is the throttle blade on this bigger carb is a lot bigger than the stock. So the issue with that is when it's all bolted up, it goes in here and then gets caught. When I first putting this together, I fought with this thing for maybe an hour and a half before I realized it was that getting caught, because I knew you were supposed to put a spacer in, so I put a spacer in and still had that issue, and I the whole time was thinking it was the linkage, because we'll get into that. That's another thing. So I just made a super down and dirty spacer here. It wasn't thick enough, so I had to double layer it, but I'm working on getting a 3D print, a single one that'll go in between there. So spacer, I don't know about how thick that is. Let's see. About 3.5 millimeters, 3, somewhere in there should be enough. And then that'll kind of solve that throttle blade issue. The next thing with these carbs is going to be the throttle linkage and the little blade that attaches to the carburetor, and then the throttle linkage. So I think they're all a little bit different, depending on what carb you buy off of Amazon or eBay, AliExpress, whatever. But most of them you'll have to change. You can see here I drilled a second hole, because at the time I was thinking that was my issue with, because I would hit the throttle and it would kind of get bound up real bad. And I thought it was because the linkage was all on a bind. Come to find out it was that throttle blade. So long story short, basically, you just have to switch the, I don't know what this would be called. Switch this little adapter thing here from the new carburetor. You want to put your old one to the new. And that's going to basically allow it to be the same linkage point. The little cutout was a little bit bigger on... It was a little bit smaller, so I kind of had to make it a little wider, because it's got like a little 2 flat sides on the shaft in here. So I just made that a little bigger, and then I squeezed it on with the screw, basically. So once you get that on, you'll be good to go. You shouldn't have to do any modifications or bending to the linkage there. I think I did bend it a little bit just to take the slack out of it, but yeah, so then You got the spacer, the throttle, and then the next bigger thing is going to be your intake. So this is the stock intake on my saw. If you're going to stick with this, which I don't recommend, this mesh is junk. It'll suck stuff right through. So yeah, definitely recommend upgrading it. Before I got the upgraded filter, which I have words about that as well, but before I got that, I was making this work. It was only a couple days, but I ported out this intake pretty aggressively. I mean, it was quite small before that. I like doing shit like this, tinkering with stuff, so I fucked it up. I punched through it, made it too thin, but JB welded it. And again, I knew I had one on the way, so I'm not too worried about it. But the issue with the stock intake, as you can see, I had to make a cut there, is when you put this carb in, it's a lot thicker than the stock one. The upgraded, got quite a bit on it. And you also have that 3 to 4 millimeter adapter that you have to put in there. So you're adding a lot of length to this carburetor setup. There was a little rubber piece here that I just cut off. You can kind of see down there, just cut that right off. And then with the old filter, the original filter, you'd be too far back. So then your cap, your airbox cover would not fit on. I mean, you can really manhandle it and kind of, latch it and then fold it over and then kind of clip those in, but it's not ideal. And you even have to kind of waller out the back of this cover. You definitely want to run these because the flywheel is gonna, help cool that engine down. That's why it's all enclosed to kind of help let air flow through the cylinder, or around the cylinder, not through it. So, like I said, I would definitely recommend this this filter upgrade. The only issue I just now seen when I went to take the saw apart is I'm getting particles inside. So I assume it's coming from underneath somehow or through the lid here. I haven't, maybe even in between this little screw here. I'm gonna put some silicone on it just as a test to see what's what, but basically, that goes in there. And even with the upgraded one, this was kind of tricky to find on Amazon. AliExpress, super easy, but I'm impatient. I wanted it fast, so I spent forever looking for it on Amazon. Because most of them come with the filter and come with a bunch of other garbage, but they don't come with the actual, intake that you need. So I finally found one, and it's like a joke how choked down this elbow is. As you can see, I wallered that thing way out, which you'll want to do because this is, you put the new carb on, which is made for a little bit bigger of a saw. You put the new filter on, think it's going to be flowing great. This thing will choke it down so quick. Because, I mean, it was I would say it was probably less than half of that when I got it. In terms of the space from this wall to this wall here. It was probably half of that. So, you want to waller that out. In terms of making it fit, again, you can see I had to cut off the little nub that goes on here. It just holds a little rubber grommet, basically, that keeps it from rubbing on this. But if you just cut it off totally, you don't have to worry about that. I would love to kind of walk you through the whole process, but like I said, it's already done on my saw. So, if you have any questions or anything, just comment. I'm on YouTube daily, so get a hold of me and I'll, gladly make another video or help you out with whatever.